Hello, hello. Let's see. Just putting in this information down here so I could ping it. Hold on. I think that's it. Okay. All right, all right. Good evening. Hi, Marissa. I see you there. Thank you so much. I can't wait to get started and have you on. I'm going to give it a couple minutes so folks can join us. Thank you, everyone, for always supporting everything that we're doing with the organization. As some of you guys know, we have been leading an entrepreneurship program, and today is week 5, and we're talking about marketing. So I'm super excited because marketing is a really important component of your business. So I can't wait for Marisa King to share some information with us, and some, resources and some pointers, and, let us know about investing in marketing and how important it is and things like that. So I am super excited. Actually, I think I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. I think I'm gonna tag Marissa in so we can get started. Marissa, I sent you a request, and I hope everyone can hear me. All right.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi,
Good
how are you?
evening. Good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm doing well.
It's a pleasure to meet you virtually.
Same here. Same here. Thanks for having
Yes.
me.
Of course. Thank you so much, for hopping on with us today on such short notice. We're very excited to have you nonetheless. And actually, we have someone in common, which is your cousin,
Yeah,
which I,
Claude.
yes, Claude, which I went to high school with.
That's so funny.
Yes, which is so crazy. So that's how life works, right? And that's
Oh
how New
yeah,
York City
absolutely.
works.
Yes, that's New York City.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining. Hey, Chris. So like I was saying, we Fearless Women, when I say we, I mean Fearless Women, which is a nonprofit organization that helps that works with women who are climbing the ladder in their careers, women who are branching out and becoming entrepreneurs. And we also do some amazing work with women who have been through abuse and trauma and things like that. So we decided that during this time it was important to, instead of completely pumping the brakes, kind of provide some information and resources to our ladies so they can use this time to learn and use these techniques to apply it to their businesses, whether they've had to pivot, whether they've had to take a break, whether now they're thinking about starting a business because now they're seeing that it is important to have another stream of income, right?
Right.
Because of everything we've been through. So this is what leads us here today. And again, I'm so excited to have Marisa King here. She is going to talk to us about marketing. And I just want to give you a little bit of brief background. So she is the Chief Executive Officer of Buzz Brand Marketing, a marketing and communications agency that specializes in building brand equity. So I don't want to continue to speak for you. I kind of want to give you the floor so you can share more information on your background, and then we can get started.
Okay, awesome. Again, thanks for having me. So yeah, I started Buzz in 2003, and it was really just a culmination of me, having so many experiences in the industry, that said, you know what, you can do this on your own and you can support artists on your own. Because I started out really doing music. And then it transitioned from music to executives to politicians to everything else to athletes. And so it was just one of those things that, was organic. But like I said, I started at about 16. I was working at Duck Down Records. I worked at Bad Boy. I worked at Universal. I went to Viacom. I did entertainment law. And then at that point, it was like, I have enough knowledge with that in my degree, because I went to Pace University in the city and I studied marketing there. And then after that, I just went off running. I just went off running. And then we've been doing this for quite a long time at this point.
Yes, well, that's amazing. Congratulations on all of your success and everything that you've accomplished.
Thank
That's
you.
that's really amazing, especially during this time. It's great to see you know us people of color succeeding, and on top of that, wanting to share all of that
Yeah,
information with our community and help uplift others. So thank you so
absolutely.
much, and congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So you have all of these accolades, and then you get to the point in your life where you're like, okay, now I can use this and I can actually branch out and start my own business. So talk
Mhm.
to us a little bit about that and what that journey was like.
Well, I was younger, so I was impulsive. And so starting, like a lot of people are starting businesses later. I started young, where I was less afraid. You know what I mean? Where I was just like, let's just try this and see what happens. And so I think in some ways that was a good thing. In other ways I didn't know enough. You know what I mean? So I had to learn as I went. But I think, when you get to a place where you feel like you have enough knowledge and you have a support system and you have, some background, it's a great time to really start. And you're always going to be scared. You're always going to feel like you're not ready, but you should just kind of jump if you feel like it's your passion. When you're ready to go, you should go.
Right. So I've talked to a lot of professionals, a lot of experts like yourself, and the one thing that they've all had in common is that they say, um, just as when you were young, you kind of were fearless and you jumped into it. But one thing they all had in common is they said that once we take that leap of faith, we shouldn't jump into it and expect to do everything on our own. We
Right.
should start to put some of those things where you may not have the most experience in, or where your plate is just completely full and this is the one thing you cannot give too much energy to, but it's super important also for your business. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something that I've been learning, and that's another reason why we wanted to launch this program, just to show like the individual important elements of running your
Right.
business. Yes.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about how you were able to break down your business model, and what were the three most important things for your business to take off and to attract clients and keep that momentum.
Well, I think one of the things that, and I learned it after the fact, was I was great at a lot of things, but what I wasn't great at the time was operations. Like the operations of a business in the manner in which I wanted to run it, I was not prepared for that. I was not prepared to really run it at the level that kind of happened, because we organically grew and we got clients by word of mouth, but we started to get big clients. And so when you're getting bigger clients and you have, 10, 15 clients at once, you're sitting there and you're like, how do I juggle all of this? And the
Right.
reality was, you need to put people in place that are good at the things that you're not good at. And so I was really blessed. I've been really blessed to have people that, were great at certain things that I was not. And those people really took the reins. I had Milady, who was the operations guru. And so Milady ran all of the operations and she got me in check. Like when I thought that I was doing something right, she was like, you could be doing this better. And then it allows for you to do what you're better at. And that was a great thing. You know what I mean? So it was really developing a team. It was developing a team of people that could hold things together and that could play their role. And then once we did that, we were really able to take off.
Right. That's so amazing. And I can't agree more with that. But I do want to ask you, and tonight's class is about marketing, but this is
Yep.
an important factor. So what how were you able to um get in the funding to pay the people that were a part of your team, or when they came on, was it more like we're gonna grow together and we're gonna build together?
So a lot of it was in the very beginning stages, we're going to grow together and we're going to build together. That was the best way to do it. At this point, it's this is what I have to give you. But, in the beginning, it was let's build together, let's create a team and let's all be invested. And with that team, let's grow. And so that's how it worked in the beginning. Um, and I just think that if you find the right people and you have the right, if you have a vision and they can believe in it, they will jump on board. And if they believe in it too, because that's the thing, people have to believe in it as well. They can't just want to do it because you want to do it. They have to actually want, want and see what you see, to make it work. And so I think that that's a beautiful thing that I was really blessed to have people, that believed in what I was trying to do in order to make it happen.
And then one last question in regards to that. Did you acquire people who um, solely were good at what they did and then became fully invested, in making this dream come true, collectively? Or were they people who also had, let's say, already like a functioning business and things like that? And I ask that because sometimes when you're building a team with people who have their own brands or their own successful business, it's kind of hard to keep them involved and wanting to do more when it comes to your business.
Right. So for me, it was a combination. There were certain people who definitely were on their own, not with the business, and they were just ready to come in and do what we needed to do. And so that was, again, that was a beautiful thing. But people like, I don't know if you know Denrick Romaine, but Denrick came to us and he started running sports and lifestyle, and Denrick had his own agency, so it was a great, quote unquote acquisition for us to get somebody who had that background. But then he was invested. We did work with Lexi Chow, and Lexi Chow was invested, and Lexi had her own PR firm. So really, at the end of the day, I think it's about finding the right people, whether they have a situation or they don't. You know what I mean? If they're the right people and they're coming to you at the right time, they're going to be beneficial, and hopefully you're beneficial to them as well.
Right, right. I want to thank everyone that's rolling in right now. Hi, Claude, make me over. PK, thank you guys so much for joining. So let's get into marketing. So talk to us about marketing, and maybe start by telling us what led your backstory and your work in the entertainment business. But what made you focus solely on marketing, and also let us know how important marketing is to your business.
Okay. So I think, honestly, I started to do marketing because of my brother. It was really random. Like, my brother did marketing, and he did it for Travelers Insurance, and he was like an amazing corporate executive for a really long time. And I was just like, oh, this is so cool. And I was like, I didn't really, I didn't really see what he was doing as exciting or like sexy, but I thought, okay, this sounds like a great job, and he's got a great job. So I started to delve into what that looked like. And what I found was the sexy part of it. You know what I mean? I found out all the entertainment stuff and all the parts and all the marketing parts, and it just intrigued me. It intrigued me because I'm a creative thinker. And so for me, it was very much about being able to use my mind and come up with concepts and do all of that, because I didn't want a boring job. Like, I always knew that. I was like, I don't want to be bored. If I have to leave my kids, if I have to do whatever, I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to like what I'm doing. And that was really kind of where my head was at. And so once I found that part of marketing, I was sold. It was just really, really easy. It was just like, I get to be creative. I get to have fun. Every company in the world has a marketing department. So no matter what part of marketing you want to do, it's such a valid degree. It's such a valid, focus. And so it just really, for me, was like, this is what you're going to focus on. And then you can take it wherever you want to take it.
Yes, absolutely. So that's so fun how you just fell into it, and
Yeah.
and it became something became so successful at. That's amazing. That's like you discovered your purpose without even knowing it, by mistake.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So tell us, what exactly is marketing? Because sometimes we may confuse marketing with like branding and things like that. So kind of break it down in simplest terms for us. Like, what exactly is marketing?
So marketing is communicating your message to your target market. So basically, you're getting your product in front of other people, and it's the way that you do that. But yes, people confuse it a lot, because there's marketing, and then there's PR, and then there's advertising, and then so what is what? all of those things are actually part of marketing. They're all part of your marketing plan, how you market your brand, how you market your product. It's all encompassed in marketing itself. But marketing is the actual act of getting your brand or product to your target.
Okay. So how normally, let's say you're, beginners, you're launching your business for the first time. How soon should you sit down and consult with a marketing consultant or with a marketing agency?
I think it's never too early to consult with somebody, because that can help you even in the very beginning stages of your business plan. You know what I mean? So when you're writing your business plan, you can include in your marketing portion you have more informed information. You understand what I'm saying? Like, your information is actually qualified by somebody if you sat down with a consultant. Now, that's not to say that you have to. It's just a way that you can get more information and really qualify what you're saying. So it's helpful. It's definitely helpful. But I would say in the beginning, when you're making a plan, a 6-month plan, a 1-year plan, a 5-year plan, you should always be consulting with marketing, because you need to know the direction that you're going in.
Right, right. So, is it initially a major investment as far as finance wise? And if it is, I'm assuming that's something that you should definitely put into your expenses,
Right.
calculate into your expenses. Is it like a
Yeah.
really large investment that you're making in the beginning, or can you start off at a lower scale of marketing?
I believe you can scale it. I mean, you'll speak to some people and they'll say, yes, it's a big investment, because, they want you to give them money. But at the end of the day, I think there are very many ways to consult with somebody and get ideas and get concepts and really grow. So you could start at a smaller scale, and then increasingly as time goes on and as you grow your business, you can grow your marketing.
Right. Okay.
There's so many beautiful things about marketing. Like, when we talk about marketing, that's social media marketing. A lot of social media
Mhm.
marketing is free.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so if we start to include that, when there's such a heavy presence and everyone's on social media, then we can really, really grow our brands for free.
Right.
So you
Definitely.
got
But
to put it in that mix.
right. But I still think even with growing your social presence, I think you still need some sort of a marketing strategy too.
Absolutely.
Because yes, because it doesn't work so quickly and so effectively for everybody. And I think it's because we're missing that component, that secret from the
Yeah.
marketing consultants that we need to take it to the next level. It's like we kind of reach, that point where we're stagnant when it comes to
Yes.
to building your social media. It's like you gain momentum, but then it's like, okay, now there's a missing link. So I think so also for social media and your social outlets, definitely I think marketing is needed. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, because
Yeah.
marketing is where you come up with your strategy. Social
Right.
media is just a part of it. You know what I
Right.
mean? So when you do the social media, though it might be free, if there's no strategy behind it, it doesn't do you any good. So
Right.
everything needs to be part of your strategy. Everything needs to be part of your plan. So when you write your marketing plan and you really outline everything, you can use social media and all of those free tools, to save some money, but there still needs to be a strategy behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. So can you share with us some of the questions that you may ask a new client when they come to you for your marketing services? So maybe we can, jot down some of the things that we should be thinking about as well.
Okay. I think the first thing I always ask is, what is your target? Who's your target market? What are you looking to do? And from a growth standpoint, where are you looking to be in 5 years? And 5 years seems like a stretch for people, but it's really, really not. And that helps you do not only your business strategy in general, your whole business plan, but your marketing plan. So if you know how fast you need to be growing, how fast you need to scale things, then you're able to really have a plan.
Right. Okay. So your target market, knowing your target market is definitely like at the
Oh,
top of
yeah.
the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you're not sure who you're trying to reach, how do you know how to reach them?
Right. Exactly.
So I need
And
to know who
then
I'm going after.
right, right. And then there's some businesses also that are a bit lucrative. So they may offer different services under the same umbrella.
Yes.
How can you market a business like that? Like give
So
us
I
maybe
think it's
like,
about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say give us like, like a couple things that we can do if we have a business that kind of has like multiple target markets.
Okay. So I think one of the things that you would do is you segment your marketing. So you're segmenting your business the same way you come up with different categories for what you're doing in different target markets, you're marketing the same way. And so if I'm marketing, let's say one service I'm offering is for entrepreneurs, then I'm going to market to the entrepreneurs in one way. Another service I might be offering, which is relevant, is that I market to corporations, and maybe I'm helping them break into a different market. You know what I mean? So we're doing different things. It's all marketing, but we're touching different people. And so knowing your touch points, knowing exactly how to market to those groups, that's helpful. If you can segment your groups, then you're on the right path.
Okay, understood. So when you segment the different components of your business, the different target markets and things like that, is it also segment should you also separate it when it comes to like the website and the social media outreach as well, or as long as whatever like post you're putting out there, as long as that post is directed to that target market and then the following to the other, would that still work, or do you recommend that also be separated?
I don't think that you need to separate, if you mean in the way of having different social media accounts for different things. I
Mm-hmm.
don't believe so. I believe that if you're one brand and your brand offers several services, then you still market as one brand. And so you still have this one social media account, but like you said, you know, have different posts that speak to different groups. So that's absolutely fine. And most people will get a better understanding of who you are and who your brand is, but your brand is one brand. So if you start to segment your brand, you know what I mean, then you're not really reaching as many people as you can be when you really
Right.
want everyone to know exactly what you're doing, exactly all of your capabilities and all of that. So you want to keep everything together. You just want to be very clear in your messaging as you reach to each group.
Yes, okay, definitely. I can see that. Because I personally have separated a couple things. And I definitely noticed that I get the most traction on my branded page that
Mm-hmm.
that's about me. And of course everything that I do, but it's more like my branded page, and that page has the most traction. And I think you're
Right.
right. I think it's because people are seeing also the person behind the business, the person behind the message more, as opposed to in the other pages, I concentrate more on exactly what the mission is and the purpose. So
Right.
I'm definitely gonna look into what I've been doing and see how I can merge it, because I agree with you.
Yeah.
Um, but I also want to ask you this. So, creating a marketing plan for yourself. Actually, let's take it back to like my page and things like that. When okay, I have a women's empowerment message, which I live and breathe by. That's my purpose. And I also happen to stumble into that purpose because of life trauma that I went through and things like that. So I definitely stick to it, and I'm very true to it, and I live and breathe it, as I mentioned. But there are other sides of me that I like to embrace.
Okay.
So for example, like, if I'm a single mom of two, and sometimes I want to encourage mothers, especially single mothers, to still feel fabulous and feel beautiful and feel amazing. So some of
Yeah.
my posts may be about that, and they may be, let's say, like a little, a little sexy, but of course appropriate and tasteful.
Right.
And then I would have another post that's about, it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and I
Mm-hmm.
would talk about that, because I'm an advocate for that as well. So when I was asking that, that was kind of like what I was talking about. Like, what do you feel like the message gets lost if you are um, kind of showing, you know, all these different sides of you? And do people stop taking you serious because of certain things? Tell us a little bit about that, and if that's something that we need to work on in our marketing plan.
I think that at the end of the day, you're your own brand. And so showing the most authentic version of yourself
Yeah.
is going to do nothing but help you. And those right people who want to invest in you, those people are going to invest in you because of who you are. And so a lot of people would, let's say, come to my company and say, I want to work with Marisa, right? They want to work with me because they see something in me. And that's a beautiful thing. And so I'm like, all right, great. But what I try to do is make sure that I'm always showing exactly who I am. So, you know, it's part of being, I'm a mom too, you know what I mean? So I'm going to post my kids. I'm just like you with the women's empowerment. I want to post what's important to me. I even post sometimes on politics. I'm going to post all the things that show me as I am. And you're either going to take it or leave it. But what I find is that most people respect that I am authentic, so that when they're coming to sit with me, they know what they're getting. They know exactly what they're getting, and then we're able to have a relationship like that. And so I think a lot of times people worry too much about, you know, about letting people in, but I think that you're most relatable if you allow people in.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And I think that, thank you for saying that, by the way. I see my girlfriend Essence here commenting as well. I think also, you know, now we're really focused on this word pivot, right, during this
Yes,
time. But I think we've already been doing that our entire lives, right? So one phase of your life is never going to look like the next phase in your life. And I
absolutely
think
not.
that, yes, you know, pandemic or not, corona or not, we're always going to be growing and evolving and changing and maturing and disliking things, liking new things. So I like that you said that, you know, just live authentically.
Yeah.
That's definitely something, that's definitely a message that I always try to push all the time, and that I try to encourage others to do, because we do get caught up in thinking about what other people think about us, and I've even heard people say in the past, like, you shouldn't post your children, you shouldn't, you know, put this up because it's going to derail from people to continue to be engaged and things like that. But I agree with you and I disagree with them. I think that more and more as the time passes, and especially as we go through, you know, all of these traumatic situations in our lives, and even everything that's going on in the world, in our communities, I think we're pushing more towards authenticity.
Oh yeah.
So I definitely agree with you. So thank you for sharing that with everyone. So I want to ask you, what are some do's that we can do with our businesses to be able to gain some traction, engage our current clients, and also, you know, engage new ones? Tell us some things that we should be doing, whether it's on social media, on email marketing, on LinkedIn, which is, I have to stress to everyone, use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is
Yeah.
really like stepping up their game right now. And there's funds in corporate, you know, you can definitely find your niche. Even if your business is lucrative, you can still find your niche within LinkedIn. But back to the question. So just tell us like some do's that we can do to attract clients, engage our current clients, and keep that momentum going.
Okay. So I think some of the things we can do, I mean, it really boils down to communication, right? So keeping someone engaged is communicating with them. And so if you have current clients, past clients, whatever the case may be, the way to stay engaged is to communicate. And so I strongly suggest newsletters. You know, don't be annoying, but definitely communicate what's going on with you, what's going on with your brand, what's going on with them. Send out a newsletter on a monthly basis if you can, so that they know what's happening. Because a lot of times clients want to know what you have going on with other clients. They want to know what's going on in your circle. And so the great thing is if you are sending out this newsletter, that is a really easy way to share everything that's happening. So I would suggest doing something like, you know, a MailChimp or Constant Contact, and really on a monthly basis having a newsletter that goes out. As far as social media, I definitely think that sometimes we're doing ourselves a disservice because we go there and we're trying to build our followers and we're doing all this stuff, but we're not actually engaging with our followers. So I think that, you know, when people write to you, respond. When
Yeah.
people DM you, communicate with them. You know, of course, you're not going to communicate with inappropriate messages, and you're not going to communicate with nonsense, and you're going to get a lot of that. But the
Yeah.
reality is that the people who really want to talk to you, they're there, and they want to engage, and they have questions, and they're hungry. And so really paying attention to them will be good for your social media. And people talk. So when you become a receptive person, when people see that you're in your comments and you're responding, then more people have things to say or they have more questions to ask. And so you can really become a resource if you make
Right.
yourself available. So I think making yourself available on social media is an important thing. Um, so newsletters, social media. I love that you brought up LinkedIn. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I use LinkedIn in some very interesting ways. So when I have an assistant or an intern, I will typically tell them to go through my list of friends and reach out to everyone that is a connection and say, hey, checking in, how are you doing? Is there some way that I can benefit you? Is there some way we can work together? Because you'd be surprised at the amount of people that you have a connection with that you guys can really do something special. And so if you don't reach out, you don't know. And so the point of having LinkedIn is to build a business network. So use it.
Right. Absolutely. Hi, Soraya. I have to agree with that. I actually am someone who recently had a talk with myself and said that I do need to respond to more of my messages and engage more. I definitely was one of those people that would post and then just go. And not
Yeah.
because I didn't want to, but more because, you know, just the schedule was so busy.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely I try to now post during times of day when I know I can take out at least 45 minutes to see who responds, and I engage with them right away and things like that. That's super important. And another thing that I've been doing is I've been participating in so many webinars and Zooms
Yeah.
and you name it. So I was starting to do this, and then I just had a conversation with someone yesterday who also mentioned the same thing, which was great because I was like, yes, okay, we're on the same we're on the same journey. We're going the same direction. So one thing that I've been doing is when I hop on a Zoom on a webinar, I right away look up the panelists on LinkedIn, send them a message. I also engage in the chat during the Zoom and things like that. So I think that that's another good way to market your business.
Yeah.
Kind of like, you know, it's like an immediate connection. They're already seeing that you're engaging in the chat during the Zoom, so they already know who you are, kind of. And then you make the introduction. So I just wanted to mention that that's also a really good way to market your business. LinkedIn
Absolutely.
is the best. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So what are some don'ts? What are some ultimate do not do this? This is definitely not going to bring you success in your business. It'll be the negative direction.
I don't know that I have hardcore don'ts. I think it's about the approach. So I think there are a lot of things that are good for marketing, but if you do it wrong, then you can offend somebody. It's almost like with, I'm going to use PR as an example. So a lot of people who are doing PR, they're going to pitch some editors, right? And they're just going to send cold emails and just say, write about my client, write about my client, write about my client. But they're not really directing it at the editor themselves. They're not really focused on who they're speaking to, what their focus is. They're just reaching out. You know, I want my client on ABC, so I'm reaching out to everybody at ABC.
Mm-hmm.
If you do that, what you wind up doing is annoying people. What you wind up doing is having people look at you like they don't understand what's going on because you're not really focused. Again, there's no strategy behind it. So if you have a strategy, and you're going after people in the right way, then you're usually successful. So I think with anything, it's about having a strategy for what you're looking to do. And then once you have that strategy, implementing it. And then 9 out of 10 times you'll be successful. I just think that a lot of times we're putting the cart before the horse, so to speak. You know what I mean? And we're just jumping into something without really thinking of our tone, the context,
True.
things of that nature. And so when you're not all aligned, things don't work out as they should.
That is very true. So what happens when you have like a really extensive email list? Because I'm really taking into account what you're saying, and sometimes we do send out our newsletters, and although they're catching everyone up with what our business is doing, it's still very cold, calculated, programmed, and you're not really having that human interaction and engagement. So what happens when you have like an extensive email list? Like how do you decipher who you should reach out to before sending the newsletter, and then maybe saying, I hope everything's going well and things like that? Like how do you decipher that, and is that something that you should be doing?
Okay. So I think that you should segment your list. So I think that when you have an email list, and even if you have people subscribe, you should find out if they're, however you're having them subscribe, if there are ways to use check boxes and say, are these things of interest to you, so that you're sending them what they actually want to know about. So a lot of times, you use the example of having women's empowerment. So you might have women's interest, you might have marketing, you might have different things, that you're listing. And what do people want to hear? And then there's a general list. So if there's a general list and those people in general want to know about your business, what's going on, they're a client, they're a former client, a potential client, they get your general list. But then there are people who are signed up, and they're only going to get certain information. So right now I work out of Atlanta and New York. I'm not sending a New York event to the group in Atlanta.
Right.
Because they're not going. You know what I mean? So, I might get one random person who happens to be traveling at the time, but, that's not really what's going to happen. So I have it segmented by area. I have it segmented by, are they a nightlife type of person, or are they a fundraising charity type of person? Are they men? Are they women? What's the age group? So you can segment those lists fairly easily. And if you do that, then you're usually more effective when you send your outreach, because then you know who you're getting and for what.
Right. That's a great idea.
Yes, so filter them. I'm looking at that question. Yes. Filter.
Yes. No, that is a great idea, actually. That's something that I'm gonna
do. Okay.
Yeah. Because that's one thing that's been holding me back from sending out my newsletters more often, is the fact that I don't want to send information to certain businesses and organizations, or even individuals that I know the information won't be beneficial for.
Right.
So I haven't been wanting to just kind of just throw everything out in an email when they're really not gonna pay attention to it, and that's how you lose subscribers.
Correct.
So thank you for sharing that. That's definitely something important to do. What else was I gonna ask you? I was gonna ask you about what is a good marketing strategy for LinkedIn when you have a lucrative company? Let's say a company, so for example, I do women's empowerment, but like I mentioned, we do career coaching, we do personal professional development. So what's a good marketing strategy for LinkedIn? Do you kind of redo the branding just for LinkedIn, or can you use the same branding that you're using on other platforms?
I think that you can. So LinkedIn's interesting because LinkedIn is supposed to be more professional, of course. So I think as far as your branding for the company, for your company page, you should keep it pretty much on brand, for how your company represents itself. But at the same time, people now at LinkedIn are getting a little friendlier. So you want to make it relatable. you want to make it so that people can still look at your page and feel like there's something that they get there, and that they want to have a conversation, they want to engage with you. So I think it's a fine line, but definitely LinkedIn is the one that's the, you know, the most professional of the social
Right.
media.
Yeah, and that's why I asked, because some of our stuff could be very colorful, and it's like, you know, LinkedIn is more of a business structure type of a social networking platform.
Right. That
Okay.
comment is so funny right here. They'll shout you out on there if you aren't serious. Um, I think that's funny though. People will call you out. They will definitely call you out, but you have to, you know, you just have to maintain your professionalism,
Yes.
but make yourself relatable. Make yourself relatable.
Right, definitely, yeah, and you know, everything is connected. That's why I asked that too,
Yes.
because they will go on your Instagram social page to also look you up and things like that. So
Yes.
that's why we're having this conversation.
Right.
um, so I mean, do you have any more important tips to share with us? Any important resources? Maybe some free websites that we can get some free information from on how to at least get started before we acquire a marketing consultant or a marketing agency.
So I love websites like Ad Age and Marketing Trend. So any of those kind of websites or newsletters, I would follow them and get information. I would definitely check other people's blogs. I love blogs because people always have something awesome to share. And you know, it's a free resource. It's awesome to just see other people's insight on how they market. And so I would definitely be looking into things of that nature. As far as marketing your
Oh, I think she froze.
I think.
Okay.
Oh, am I there?
Yes, you froze a little bit.
um, so I say, like, for your personal marketing and branding, be personal and authentic in your communication, which is what we talked about in the beginning. Leverage your network. Your friends, your colleagues, and your social network are your biggest asset. Create your own tips. I think tips are great. So if you can create tips for people that are helpful for what they're trying to do, you know, a list of tips to do X, Y, and Z, whatever your expertise is, I would do that. So every person has a strong suit, and whatever your strong suit is, create tips that go around that. Because those tips that you can share with someone else, you have no idea how much you could change what they have going on. And that's a great way to market yourself. Um, Post pictures. So that's where Instagram comes in handy. We can sometimes think it's silly, but all the quotes that we post, we never know who we're inspiring. You know, pictures of
Yeah.
what's going on, and you can motivate people through your pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also have, I'm looking at this list because I have this list that I made, and I always find it super useful for people because I think we forget about the things. Some of the things are like collaborating with your competition. We really don't have competition. We're our own competition, but collaborate with those that you think are competition to you, because you can
Agreed.
really build a great team. You can make something awesome happen by collaboration. And so I'm really big on collaborating. Um, Learn as much as you can. So that statement that knowledge is power is just so awesome. Learn as much as you can. Like you said, take webinars, do all of those things, read books, go to classes, go to networking events, do all of that. Just get as much information as you have to learn to be the best that you can be at what your focus is. The best way to market yourself is to have enough knowledge to be able to share it.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for that. Those were gems. I hope everybody took notes because I did.
Yeah, I love it.
um, you mentioned leveraging your friends. Let's talk a little bit about that. So once you send out an invitation socially for everyone,
Mm-hmm.
should you also send it out independently to your friends, to businesses that you've collaborated with in the past? and how should you approach that?
Yes. So if you have friends like my friends, they want a personal invitation. they they don't want you to just post it on social media because that's not personal. And you'll find that clients as well, or potential clients or former clients, they want you to speak to them personally. And I think that a lot of times we lose that personal touch. We lose the
Yeah.
personal touch because we are so big on the social media, which I said was important, but at the same time we can't lose that we're all human beings and we want to have some sort of interaction that's real. And so yes, you should absolutely invite people on a personal level. Tell them why you want them to be there. Explain how important it is for you that they're there. And then I think you'll get people to come. A friend of mine, she actually was doing something online, and I saw her post that she was doing it online. But it wasn't until she messaged me myself, on a personal note and said, "Hey, it would mean a lot to me if you'd participate in this." The minute she said that to me, I was like, I'm there.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're taking the time to reach out to me, and it makes me feel good, and I want to make you feel good. And so I think it's that mutual sharing of emotions that sometimes we forget. We need to do that. And so I think it's very important that we're personal with people.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so one last question. I know earlier on in our conversation you mentioned a marketing plan.
Mm-hmm.
So a marketing plan is definitely separate and different from your business plan, correct? Or is
Yes.
that a part of your business
So
plan?
there, in your business plan, there is a section for marketing.
Right.
And so you would do that. But when you expound, like when you're going and you're delving deep into what you're about to do as far as marketing for the next year, you have a marketing plan that's all on its own. And
Okay.
so that marketing plan can be for a year, for 6 months, whatever the case may be. But your marketing plan is definitely like, this is what I'm doing in the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. And this is the goal that I'm trying to reach. And this is how, this is the return on investment that I'm going to get from it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, return on investment. I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
let you go just yet. How can we? That's also something that came up in a conversation yesterday. I sit on another board for another women's organization, and that came up. Return on investment came up. So how can we leverage our sponsors, and how can we make sure not only our sponsors but also members of our organizations and businesses? How
Mm-hmm.
can we leverage their sponsorship, and what can we give them as a return of investment, because it's in different ways. Of course we can provide to them the services that we're already offering, but some of these sponsors are at a much higher corporate level. So
Yeah.
give us some pointers on how we can leverage that and make sure that we are providing a return on investment.
So I think with sponsors, it's an interesting thing, and it would depend what they're sponsoring. But I think a lot of times we really need to look at the value that we're giving a sponsor, and I think sometimes they're not getting enough. And I think that's something that I learned through doing events. And I was like, okay, you know what? They're not getting enough. What more can I give them? Because at the end of the day, they're believing in what you're doing and they're supporting you. So how do you support them back? So
Right.
I think return on investment can be anything from exposure, to and that can be through social media. If you have a large following, it can be through social media. It can be a presence on your website. It can be photos with celebrities. If you're having a celebrity event and this brand wants product placement, it's making sure you get all of those things, whatever realm it's falling in. But it's making sure that they're seeing the value in participating as a sponsor. And a lot of that is a conversation. It's to a sponsor. I think sometimes we just create packages and that's it. Maybe it's more of a conversation. Maybe it's like, well, what would you like to get out of this
Right. Yeah.
partnership? Because it's a partnership. They're sponsoring you, but it's a partnership. You have to give them back something in return. So more of a conversation on how do we make this mutually beneficial? Like, this is what I get out of it, but what do you get out of it? And I think that you'll have more fruitful relationships in that way.
Right. Yes. Because that's how you lose your sponsors, you know. So you, okay, so you said you know, providing exposure and things like that. What normally would be like a length of time where you would be returning on investment? Is it something that would be for like a whole year? If they're, let's say you have like a once a year gala and they're your major sponsor or one of your sponsors, so would it be like a whole year that you're returning on the investment, or is it a certain period of time, or is this something you put in the contract when you send it to them? Like what does that look like?
Well, I think it depends on the build out. So for something like a, like a gala that you're having on a yearly basis, you're probably 6 months out doing marketing for it, right? So 6 months out, then they know for 6 months they're getting some level of marketing. Whether it's they're first
Right.
getting an announcement, they're getting their press release, so they're getting some PR, they're getting, some quotes in the press release, they're getting placement on a website, they're making sure that for something like a gala, they're on a step and repeat. You're making sure that they're getting video coverage, that they're getting photos, that they're getting all of that. So you have 6 months to be creative, basically, and figure out what can I give them prior to the event and what can I give them at the event. And at the end of the event, you're giving them basically a wrap up. You're giving them a full catalog of pictures and
Mm,
video and
okay.
everything that shows them what they got, what their investment did. You want to make sure that they understand what their money went to, and then they feel like they got the benefit.
Okay, got it. Got it. That, yes, that's super important. I never thought about the wrap up portion. Um that's definitely important. And because there, that will also consist of or actually would it consist of contacts of let's say panelists that were involved in the event, and important attendees and businesses. Is
It
that also
can,
included
yes.
in that wrap up? Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it absolutely can.
Okay. And then really quickly, and I promise this will be the last thing.
You're good.
So
Mm-hmm.
as far as
Mm-hmm.
membership, how do you do the return on investment that way? Because a lot of times when some people become members of your business, your organization, they're expecting a quick turnaround on what they want to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you continue to give them the resources and kind of just say, well, here are the resources, and now you have to learn how to start building the relationship and things like that? Or what should we be giving them during that time, during their time of membership?
I think it depends on what your membership is, but I think whatever it is, it should be outlined very, very clearly.
Okay.
Membership is funny. So when I'm subscribing to something, yes, I'm expecting to get something on a regular basis. If I'm paying monthly or whatever the case may be, what is it that you're giving them? And so I think that that's the first thing, and making sure that they're clear on what they're receiving. So if you're giving someone, we're working on a membership program right now, we're guaranteeing 3 community conversations a month. That means I have to give you those 3 community conversations a month. I cannot
Right.
say I'm giving you one, I'm giving you 3 because you're paying every month and these are the things you're expecting. Whether you come to all 3 or you only come to one, that's your right, that's your choice. But I'm giving you the 3 things that I said I'm giving you. I'm giving you a special gift. I'm giving you this. I'm giving you that. You really just need to outline it when they're
Yeah.
signing up for a membership. Be very, very clear and concise in what they're receiving.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I want to thank
Oh, yeah.
everyone who tuned in tonight. Thank you, Liz McNeil. I see you. Rich, I see you. The Essence. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate you. And I really appreciate you, Marisa. Thank you for taking out the time tonight to
Oh,
sit with
absolutely.
us. Yes, you definitely shared such great information that I'm pretty sure everyone would take into account. I know I am. I'm going to go back to the video, back to my notes, and definitely implement a lot of the things that you shared with us today. I can't stress enough how this is like the fourth quarter. We need to get ready to, make 2021 a much better year for us. Now we're learning
Absolutely.
that, it's great to start your business because you have another stream of income, but now these are the ways to do it effectively, right? So thank you again. Are there any words you want to leave us with tonight?
I just think that people should go for it. Whatever you're trying to do, go for it. Make a plan, and really just take it and run with it. I think that's the best thing we can do for ourselves. And when we're doing something that we love, we'll be happy. It'll be great.
Yes. And I would add, when you reach a stagnant place, and it has to do with marketing, call Marisa, okay?
No, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So thank you so much again, and thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate you as well. I'm hoping to continue communication after this, and any little nuggets that Marisa continues to share with me, I'll definitely share it with you guys. Thank you for being with us on this Wednesday night. I hope everyone continues to stay safe and healthy. Don't forget to vote also.
Yes,
And
vote, go vote.
yes, thank you. And make sure you guys share with everybody the replay, and they can catch it on the IG Live TV. Thank you so much, Marisa. Have a great night. I appreciate
Thank you.
you.
You too. Thanks for having me.
All right, bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Another great live. Super excited to package all of these weeks for you guys. We definitely have been touching on very important parts of starting a business and running a successful business. So thank you again, guys. I really appreciate you. Have a good night. And again, stay safe. Bye, DSN. All right, guys.